All right, but we'll move on from the controversial topics to one that I think is controversial. It's constantly in my comments when talking about mining being good but they nerfed they killed the Prospector, SaltEMike. Oh my God, they killed the Prospector. Well, this is from the Space Coder, Star Citizen. Did they kill the Prospector? Let's see what he says. But I am of full belief that the Prospector is in a better place than it's ever been.
Hello citizens and welcome back. In today's video I would like to talk about the mining changes done in 3.19, what they bring, what issues they are trying to solve, and whether they actually managed to do so. As always, if you like this video, sacrifice a like and a comment to the YouTube algorithm and subscribe for more. And here's a shout out to our amazing patrons for their support of the channel and the armory. Let's start with the main problems the mining update tried to address. First of all, no one was FPS mining. I actually did a full video about this issue a few weeks back, so you can go check that out for a longer explanation. Next, players would to some extent avoid multi-crew and use the mole solo or bring multiple prospectors for mining. And
they still use the mole solo.
And finally, only a select few elements were mined because they offered the best profit. So let's start with
where's Slyfi? He was there. He was right here on the screen. Slyfi was there. He's in
everyone. Small changes. First of all, there was an update to the mining mode UI for ships. It's a major improvement and definitely a step in the right direction moving forward. The new UI is easier to understand and generally looks a bit less cluttered. Moving on, another small update but a major quality of life improvement. The multi-tool mining attachment now has an extraction mode. This has been requested since the beginning of FPS mining, and now we finally have it. It's pretty so janky and the flying gems can push you or hurt you, but definitely an improvement. The other change to FPS mining is the addition of a new FPS mineable, Genelite. It is very rare and very valuable. Now, have these changes made FPS mining more attractive?
So he never found it, because it's not in the video.
Not really.
He hasn't found it yet.
The extraction beam is a great quality of life improvement, but the new mineable is not really that big of a deal. It is very rare and you still have to go to a cave to get it. I stand by my thoughts from my previous video on FPS mining, so feel free to pause this video and go watch that. Let's move on to rock mining. Rock mining didn't change that much. As far as I can tell, the changes to the mineable properties and the laser are minimal. However,
ooh, the actual changes are minimal, but the distribution is not minimal.
The updates to mineable spawn probability makes rock minables more common, which is also good.
I don't know if it made them more common, but when you do find them, they're in large groups. So like 5+ every time. So filling in ROC is not going to take as long as it has in the past because, man, you're scanning, you find a rock mineable, and there's 2 Hadanite rocks, right? You're scanning, 1 Hadanite rock, 3 Hadanite rocks, and then you finally find the one with 15, right? And then you're able to do it.
Actually starting to think that rock mining is the entry-level mining loop rather than FPS mining. And finally, let's talk about ship mining, because it has gone through almost a complete overhaul. Starting with the mining equipment, the mining lasers, modules, and gadgets have been completely rebalanced with new values.
You've wrecked so many rock devices recently, that's fixed in the .1, so don't stress about it.
Made all of these pieces of equipment unique in their category and allows us to create very specific mining loadouts, which is an amazing change. On top of this, mining lasers now have a minimum power setting, which at first glance doesn't make any sense, but it fixes a problem that has been present since the release of different mining heads. Before 3.19, if you applied 2 lasers at the same rock, even at 0 power they would apply their modifiers, which in groups would greatly decrease difficulty. The new update prevents this, but also adds some difficulty to mining smaller rocks. But overall, this change combined with the
you know what I want to see? I want to see maybe mass play a bit. I don't know how to do the math correctly here, but I would love to see the size 2 lasers get a power bump even higher. Maybe have the mass on the rock affected by them in a different way, and then because that power is so high, the smaller rocks are like very difficult to mine with size 2 powerful lasers. You need the size 2 not powerful lasers like the Hofstede or the Arbor, right? What those two would be something that you always have to have on your ship.
Balance also ensured that the stock loadouts on both the Prospector and the Mole are actually very capable and give you a good starting point for upgrading. Next, this also comes with a complete change in mineable spawning probabilities and mineral properties and sale prices. Minerals contained in minables are now split into common, uncommon, and rare. A mineable will always contain a common mineral. Uncommon and rare minerals will appear as suggested by the name with various degrees of probability. CIG have also introduced a greater range of mineable sizes, where some will definitely require a mole and some might even require multiple moles to crack. There are also very small minables that can be extracted right away. Minables also now tend to spawn almost exclusively in clusters of multiple rocks of all sizes.
Yep.
At first glance, this is really the only questionable part of this change. As a Prospector pilot, you will mostly be encountering rocks you can't crack alone, but trying to use multiple Prospectors
But that's not true. In every cluster, you'll have rocks that you can crack, they'll have rocks that you can extract, and there'll be one or two that you can't. This feeling of most of the rocks you will find will not be ones that you can mine is simply not true. It's just way more rocks that you find will be rocks that you can't mine in comparison to 318. That's the difference, is there will be significantly more rocks that you cannot mine in comparison to the game before. Don't saltying me, okay? It's just true. And that's the thing, is everybody wants to be able to do everything, and now that they can't, they're complaining about it. And that doesn't mean that the Prospector is bad. The Prospector is actually way better. I think I broke a 16K or 19K mass rock all by myself. I did a 16K mass rock with a rented Prospector, right? Like, you're able to make money with these things. It just comes down to understanding the system a little bit, right? I don't know, man. It's the mentality of the Star Citizen community, and a lot of gamers in general just want to be able to solo everything and be able to do everything by themselves, and you're just not going to be able to.
Increases difficulty, where on the other hand, the Mole can effectively mine almost every rock it finds, assuming it is fully crewed, which would put Prospectors at a disadvantage. And this is somewhat
oh my god, how is a fully crewed Mole putting a solo Prospector at a disadvantage? You have to split the money. You have to split the profits.
Compounded by the changes to multi-crew mining. The Mole now has a stability bonus when multiple lasers are mining the same mineable. On the other hand, using multiple Prospectors incurs a penalty. This definitely promotes multi-crew gameplay as CIG intended, but it might also seem like Prospectors are now very limited in their use. But from testing, I can tell that the Prospector is still very useful on its own, and even better when working together with a Mole. So as far as I'm concerned, CIG did accomplish their goal of encouraging players to group up.
Not if you take all the money. Who do I owe? I owe somebody 250K because I borrowed money for a refinery job. I don't remember who I owe money to. I sold that refinery job.
But it doesn't balance out the changes to mineable size and probability. And the final part of mineable changes is that certain minerals will only appear in certain locations, which is supposed to promote trade. This also came with a rebalance of mineral sale prices, so that minerals that were previously less valuable are now more valuable. The intention was to push players towards mining other minerals rather than just chasing the rarest, most valuable ones. So CIG...
We still chase the rarest, most valuable ones. It's just there's more of them now. They didn't really succeed too much on that, and they're never going to succeed on that until there's a dynamic economy and until there's actual crafting where you use all of these materials for certain things. So when I want to craft an engine, I need X, Y, Z. When I want to craft an FPS weapon, I need A, B, C, right?
Did end up fixing the Quantanium meta to an extent, by making it extremely rare and increasing the value of minerals like gold and borace to make them more competitive. Obviously, there will still be people chasing the top tier minerals, but I think this change makes mining more accessible and lowers the barrier of entry. Because combined with the changes to mining...
Yeah, and it's really interesting because mass plays a role here. What core space in the game is really like one of the key factors that people don't quite understand. 10,000 credits of barrel is worth more than 10,000 credits of gold if you have the space for it, because mass is playing a role here.
mining equipment, the rental Prospector can now make you a decent amount of money even if you are new to mining. There was also a minor change to refinery balance. As far as I can tell, it was just a small tweak of refinery specializations and refining method properties.
Thank you, Jaden.
Unfortunately, it failed to address the major issue of refineries. As you may have noticed, all refineries are permanently overloaded. This could be due to multiple reasons, but the most likely explanation is that just like trading outposts, refineries share the same resource pool across multiple servers, which is clear.
They do, and CIG just never finished that system. I don't think they gave a shit.
Clearly too small. So until ship refineries are introduced, the only sensible solution would be to increase this resource pool significantly. I would also like to mention another new feature, even though it's not directly related to mining. In 3.19 we were able to detach components and weapons from our ships. This extends to mining bags. This actually creates an interesting opportunity to have—
This is such a weird title to the video, because it's not really a did CIG kill the Prospector and then really diving into that subject. It's just explaining all the changes to mining and then casually going over the fact, did CIG kill the Prospector? Good clickbait, like good clicky thumbnail, good clicky title, but the content of the video isn't really talking about
a cargo
that.
ship running the full bags to the refinery. This, however, doesn't work. First of all, cargo ships can't refine the contents of the mining bags on their cargo grids at refineries, which is an interesting choice. But this probably had some internal issues, but it is still possible to refine the contents if the bag is attached to a mining ship. So
I guess Weekend Review's the same. What was Weekend Review's title? They caved. And I touched on that for a while, but the whole video isn't about CIG caving. So
technically you could use a mining ship to do the refinery runs, but that doesn't make sense. Also, as far as I know, these bags can't be purchased in stores, so that complicates things as well. And the final problem is a bit weird. It was my understanding that all mining bags are the same, or at least that's what we were told with the Prospector concept. But it turns out that the mining bags for the mole are actually bigger. This is not that big of a problem. The mole and Prospector bags are compatible with both ships. But nevertheless, it seems like detaching mining bags won't be useful until the Expanse is released. However,
is he going to touch on the fact that if you detach the mole bags and put them on your Prospector, you get 12 more SCU of space?
However, it could be interesting if CIG added drop-off points to refineries. Basically, convert the now unused landing pads to areas where you could land your mining ship, detach the bags, place them into a machine that would store the contents into the station storage from where you could later refine or sell them. This would probably also be faster than running to the refinery deck. So, what's the conclusion? Is this mining update good? I would say yes. It fixes some balance issues with mining and to some extent encourages multi-crew gameplay. I am sure that most of what was released in 3.19 will be balanced further in the upcoming patches, but we will have to see how that works out.
I don't think they're going to touch it for a while.
The only disappointing part of this update were the changes to FPS mining. CIG wanted to encourage players to do it, but I think they failed. Some players may also argue that the Prospector has been nerfed quite significantly, but I still think it has its place in the mining gameplay loop. And with that being said, that's it for tonight. What do you think?
I think the thing on hand mining was interesting too. I don't think CIG failed to make hand mining interesting. I think they put it in the wrong place, right? Like, Janolite should be a thing, but that you gain, like exactly what they said in the ISC about it. Janolite should be something where you do a mission down at this location and you happen to come across it. So you shouldn't necessarily be going out there hand mining as a profession right now. At least the intention would be always make sure you bring a mining attachment for your multi-tool just in case, right? Just in case you come across some Janolite, you might want to have that multi-tool. That was sort of how they sold it. People want to actively go out and find Janolite, but that was never the intention for the mechanic.
CIG made the Prospector obsolete? Are these changes an improvement? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Fly safe, and I will see you in the verse.
Yeah. All right. That was a good video. Thank you, Space Coder. Let me link it to you guys. There you go. But my feeling is the Prospector has never been better. The Mole has never been better, and it might be too good, and I would love to see it balanced in a way where small rocks are very difficult to break with it. and you have to use some low-powered lasers so you don't gain all the heavy power, right? But yeah.